Out there in the wilderness, the rules were brutal. Build shelter or die. It's a primal law that hasn't changed since the dawn of humanity. When the sun dips below the horizon and the temperature plummets, your fancy gear can fail, your GPS can die. Suddenly, you're face to face with a merciless frontier, a world that doesn't care about your plans or your comfort. In those moments, survival isn't about the latest technology. It's about tapping into something far older, a deep ancestral wisdom that allowed our forebears to thrive in landscapes we now consider hostile and unforgiving. They didn't just survive, they conquered these environments using knowledge passed down through generations. This wasn't about convenience, it was about life and death every single night. They read the land, understood its resources, and built shelters that worked in harmony with nature, not against it. This ancient knowledge is a powerful tool, often overlooked in our modern world, yet it holds the key to enduring the most extreme situations. So, what shelters did ancient peoples build that could save your life in terrain where modern techniques fail? Today, we're not just looking at history, we're unlocking a survival blueprint. We're exploring 7 forgotten survival shelters that kept our ancestors alive in the harshest conditions imaginable, from frozen tundra to treacherous swamplands. These aren't just relics of the past, they are life-saving techniques that every modern adventurer should know. My name is Sam, and this is Wild America. Our first shelter is a masterclass in efficiency and ingenuity, a technique perfected by Native American peoples across this continent. It's the half-cave shelter, and its genius lies in its simplicity. Why build a whole house when nature has already done half the work for you? The first step is the most crucial, scouting the terrain. You're looking for a natural rock overhang, a cliff face, or a large boulder that provides a solid pre-existing roof and back wall. This isn't just a random rock, it's a fortress in the making, a shield against the wind and rain that you didn't have to lift a single stone to create. Once you've found your rock, the real work begins. But it's smart work, not hard work. You need to gather long, sturdy poles. The key is to lean them at a steep angle against the rock overhang. This angle is critical. Too shallow, and rain will pool and leak through. Too steep, and you sacrifice precious interior space. It's a delicate balance, a conversation with gravity and weather. These poles form the skeleton of your shelter, the bones that will support the protective skin you're about to create. With the main frame in place, you begin the process of weaving. You'll collect smaller, more flexible branches and weave them horizontally through your angled poles. This creates a lattice, a dense web that will hold your insulation and weatherproofing materials. You're not just building a wall, you're creating a matrix designed to catch and hold whatever the forest can offer you for protection. Every branch you add makes the structure stronger and more resilient. Now for the skin. This is where you pile on layers of debris, thick handfuls of leaves, moss, pine needles, and even sod if you can find it. You pack this material tightly into the lattice you've woven. This layer is your insulation. It traps air, creating a thermal barrier between you and the cold outside. The thicker the layer, the warmer you'll be. It's the same principle as a modern sleeping bag, but the materials are provided entirely by the forest floor. The final touch is the weatherproofing. You want to add a top layer of large leaves like ferns or burdock or strips of bark, layered like shingles on a roof. This ensures that when the rain comes, it sheds off the sides instead of soaking through your insulation and into your living space. Inside, you've created a dry, protected microclimate. You can even dig a small trench around the outside to divert groundwater away from your shelter entrance. Archaeological evidence shows us these shelters were used for generations. You can find ancient fire pits and tool fragments tucked under rock overhangs across North America, a testament to their effectiveness. The half-cave shelter is the ultimate opportunist's refuge. It uses the land's natural features to provide maximum protection for minimal effort. It's a powerful reminder that in a survival situation, your greatest tool is your ability to see the potential that the wilderness provides. From the rocky forests we travel north to one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. Here, the Aleut people faced howling winds, relentless cold, and brutal Arctic winters. Their solution was an engineering marvel known as the Barabara, an underground home that proves ancient peoples were masters of thermal dynamics. The Barabara wasn't just a shelter, it was a subterranean fortress designed for communal living and long-term survival. The construction began by excavating a large rectangular pit, sometimes up to 3 feet deep. The shape was crucial. This wasn't just a hole in the ground, It was the foundation of a structure designed to be both spacious and incredibly strong. The earth itself provided the primary insulation, using the stable temperature of the ground to buffer against the extreme air temperatures above. This simple act of digging in immediately put them at an advantage against the cold. The framework was built from driftwood, whalebone, or whatever sturdy materials could be scavenged from the largely treeless landscape. These materials were precious and used with incredible ingenuity. A strong central ridgepole was supported by several posts, creating a gabled roof structure. From this ridgepole, rafters were laid down, extending over the edges of the pit. The entire design was aerodynamic, keeping a low profile to the ground to minimize the impact of the ferocious Arctic winds. The genius of the Barabara's thermal engineering is most evident in its entrance. They didn't just cut a hole in the side, instead they dug a low, narrow tunnel that led upwards into the main living space. This design acted as a cold trap. The colder, denser air would stay in the lower part of the tunnel, preventing it from flowing into the warmer living area. It was a simple, brilliant piece of passive air conditioning that kept the interior remarkably stable. The roof was then covered with layers of grass, sod, and earth. This created a thick, heavy blanket of insulation, often several feet thick. Over time, grass would grow on the roof, making the Barabara blend almost seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. From a distance, you might not even know a dwelling was there. This sod roof not only insulated but also provided incredible structural integrity, holding everything in place against the storms. Inside, the Barabara was a communal space, often housing multiple families. A central hearth provided warmth and a place for cooking, with a small smoke hole in the roof, sometimes covered with a translucent piece of seal intestine to let in light while keeping out the weather. This shelter wasn't just a place to escape the cold, it was the heart of the community, a warm, protected world that allowed the Aleut people to thrive in a place where most would perish. Now we move to a different kind of hostile environment, the swamp. Marshlands, bogs, and wetlands present a unique set of challenges. The ground is unstable, water is everywhere, and the air is thick with biting insects. For the Seminole and other tribes of the southeastern wetlands, the solution was an elevated shelter called the Chickie, or bog ken. This structure didn't fight the swamp. It rose above it, turning an otherwise uninhabitable landscape into a home. The foundation is the most critical part of the bog ken. You can't build directly on the soft, waterlogged ground. Instead, the Seminole would drive sturdy posts of cypress, a naturally rot-resistant wood, deep into the muck until they hit solid ground beneath. This created a raised platform, lifting the entire living space several feet above the water, away from floods, ground moisture, and many of the crawling pests of the swamp floor. It was an island of stability in a sea of mud. Upon this elevated foundation, a flat platform of poles was built, creating the floor. This floor was sturdy but had gaps, allowing for air circulation from below, which was crucial for staying cool in the humid climate. The framework for the roof was then erected on this platform. Typically, it was a simple, gabled roof design, again using durable cypress poles for the main structure. The entire building was open-sided, designed not to block the wind, but to welcome it. The roof itself was a work of art, thatched with dense layers of palmetto fronds or grasses. This thatching was incredibly effective at shedding the torrential downpours common in the region. The steep pitch of the roof ensured that water ran off quickly, keeping the interior dry. The palm fronds were woven and layered in such a way that they created a waterproof barrier that could last for years, using a resource that was abundant in the local environment. The open-sided design was a brilliant adaptation to the hot, humid climate. It allowed for maximum ventilation, letting any breeze pass through the structure to provide natural air conditioning. While it didn't offer protection from the cold, it wasn't meant to. Its purpose was to provide shade from the relentless sun and shelter from the rain, while keeping the inhabitants as cool as possible. It prioritized airflow over insulation. The bog ken demonstrates a profound understanding of a specific environment. It solves the problems of unstable ground, flooding, and oppressive heat with a single, elegant design. It shows that survival isn't about having one universal solution, but about having the right solution for the specific challenges you face. By raising their homes above the water, the people of the wetlands created a safe, dry, and comfortable refuge in the heart of the swamp. Sometimes survival isn't about long-term planning, it's about immediate, desperate action. A storm rolls in, darkness is falling, and you have minutes, not hours, to find or create shelter. This is where the fallen tree shelter comes in. It's not elegant, but it is brutally effective. This is an emergency shelter you can create using a single large tree as your primary structural element, and honestly, it could be the difference between life and death when the clock is ticking. Your first task is to identify the right tree. You're looking for a large conifer, a pine, fir, or spruce, with dense, low-hanging branches. The kind of tree whose lower boughs sweep down to the ground, already forming a sort of natural tent. If you can't find one that's fallen and you have the means, you can fell one yourself. You want it to land in a clear area, but the real trick is to prop up the trunk a few feet off the ground using its own stumps or other logs. Once the tree is down and the trunk is elevated, you have your main ridgepole. The dense branches on the top side of the trunk now form one half of your roof, an instant pre-made thatch that's already quite waterproof. Your next job is to get underneath and start clearing space. You'll need to trim away the lower branches on the underside of the trunk to hollow out a living area. This is hard work, but every branch you remove creates more space to survive. The branches you cut off are not waste, they are your building materials. You take the larger boughs you've trimmed and lean them against the trunk on the open side, creating the framework for your second wall. You want to angle them steeply, replicating the natural slope of the branches on the other side. You're essentially mirroring the tree's own structure to complete the shelter, creating an A-frame with the tree trunk as the peak. Now you use the smaller branches, the ones with plenty of needles, to weave into this new framework. You pile them on thickly, starting from the bottom and working your way up, overlapping them like shingles. The dense needles will do an excellent job of shedding rain and blocking the wind. You want to make this wall as thick and impenetrable as you possibly can, packing it tight to eliminate any gaps. Inside you're left with a long tunnel-like space. It's cramped, but it's out of the wind and out of the rain. The ground will still be cold and damp, so the final step is to create a thick bed of the softest pine boughs you can find. This bough bed elevates you off the cold ground and provides crucial insulation. The fallen tree shelter is a testament to raw pragmatism. It's a fast, effective way to turn a single natural resource into a life-saving refuge when you have no other options. We've seen complex and engineered shelters, but sometimes, honestly, the most effective survival technique is the simplest. The brush shelter, often built as a lean-to, is perhaps the most fundamental and universal shelter known to humanity. It can be built in almost any forested environment with minimal tools and in a very short amount of time. Its primary purpose is to block wind and radiate heat from a fire, and it does that job exceptionally well. The first step is to find or create your main support. A fallen log of a good height makes an excellent backbone for a lean-to. Alternatively, you can find two trees that are close together and wedge a long, sturdy pole between them to act as your ridgepole. This single horizontal beam is the foundation of your entire structure. The height is important. It should be high enough to sit under, but low enough to effectively trap heat. Next, you gather as many long, straight poles or branches as you can find. These will be your rafters. You lean them at a roughly 45-degree angle against your ridgepole. You want to place them close together, leaving no more than a foot between each one. This dense framework is what will support your insulation and weatherproofing. The more poles you use, the stronger and more durable your shelter will be. Once the skeleton is in place, you begin to add the flesh. Just like with the half-cave shelter, you'll weave smaller, flexible branches horizontally through your angled poles. This creates a solid lattice structure that will prevent your insulation from falling through. This woven matrix is key to building up the thickness you'll need to protect you from the elements. It's a simple but incredibly effective technique for creating a solid wall. Now for the debris. This is where the brush in brush shelter comes from. You pile on anything and everything the forest floor provides: leaves, pine needles, grass, moss, ferns. You start at the bottom and layer it on thickly, working your way up. You want a layer that's at least a foot thick, and ideally two. This mass of organic material is what will block the wind and trap a layer of dead air, which is the essence of insulation. The final crucial element is the fire. A lean-to is almost always built to be used with a long fire built a few feet in front of the opening. The angled wall of the shelter acts as a reflector, bouncing the heat from the fire back onto you and into the shelter. You get warmth from the front and protection from the back. It's a simple, elegant system that creates a bubble of warmth and safety. The brush shelter is Survival 101, a fundamental skill that has saved countless lives. If the lean-to is designed to protect you from one direction, the debris hut is designed to protect you from all directions. This is your personal survival cocoon, A shelter designed for one person with the sole purpose of preventing hypothermia. It operates on a simple principle. Your own body is a furnace, and the debris hut is a super-insulated sleeping bag designed to trap every last bit of heat you produce. It is one of the warmest primitive shelters you can build. Construction starts with a frame. You find a long, sturdy ridgepole about your height plus 2 feet. You prop one end up on a solid object, a tree stump, a rock, or a small A-frame you build from 2 other sticks. The other end rests on the ground. This single angled pole is the spine of your hut. It needs to be just high enough for you to crawl into. Any bigger, and your body heat will be wasted warming up empty space. Next, you lay a series of smaller sticks, your ribs, along both sides of the ridgepole, leaning them against it. They should be close together, forming a conical or A-frame shape that completely encloses the space. You want to create a thick lattice of these sticks, a cage that will hold a massive amount of insulation. The entrance is the low end where the ridgepole meets the ground. This is where the real work begins. You must now gather a colossal amount of debris, and when I say colossal I mean it. You need a pile of dry, fluffy leaves, pine needles, and grass that is at least 3 to 4 feet thick on all sides. This isn't just a covering, it's the shelter itself. The wooden frame is only there to support the weight of this massive insulation pile. The thicker the debris, the warmer you will be. Don't forget the inside. Before you even think about crawling in, you need to fill the interior with the driest, fluffiest material you can find. You want to pack the inside with a thick bed of leaves, so much that you have to wiggle your way into it. This mattress insulates you from the cold, hard ground, which can suck heat from your body faster than the air. You should be nestled deep within the debris, both below and above you. Once inside, you pull a large pile of leaves or a chunk of sod over the entrance to seal yourself in. It will be dark, cramped, and might feel claustrophobic, but it will be warm. The debris hut isn't for comfort, it's for survival. In freezing temperatures, a well-built debris hut can maintain a temperature above freezing using only your body heat. It is the ultimate expression of using the environment to create a life-saving microclimate. Our final shelter takes us to a landscape transformed by winter, where the ground is buried under a deep blanket of snow. To the inexperienced, this is a death sentence. But to those with ancient knowledge, the snow itself is the ultimate building material. The snow cave is a shelter that uses the insulating properties of snow to create a surprisingly warm and incredibly strong refuge from lethal winds and sub-zero temperatures. The first and most important step is site selection. You cannot just dig anywhere. You're looking for a deep snowdrift, ideally on the leeward side of a hill or a large rock formation where the wind has piled the snow up. The snow needs to be deep, at least 4 to 5 feet, and well compacted. You can test the depth with a long stick or ski pole. Digging in the wrong spot can lead to a collapse, which is a disaster in itself. Once you've found your drift, you begin digging. The entrance should be small and located at the bottom of the drift. You'll want to dig a short tunnel, angling slightly upwards. This upward angle is critical. Just like with the barabara, it creates a cold trap. The colder, heavier air will stay low in the entrance tunnel, while the warmer air generated by your body will rise and be trapped in the main chamber. After digging your tunnel, you hollow out the main living chamber. It should be above the level of the entrance. You want to create a domed or vaulted ceiling, as this shape is incredibly strong and resistant to collapse. The walls should be at least a foot thick for proper insulation and structural integrity. As you dig, you'll pass the snow out through the entrance tunnel, clearing your workspace. A crucial feature is the sleeping platform. Inside the main chamber, you should carve out a raised bench or platform from the snow. This will be your bed. Sleeping on a raised platform keeps you above the coldest layer of air that settles on the floor of the cave, making a huge difference in your warmth and comfort throughout the night. It elevates you into that pocket of warmer air that your body heat is creating. Finally, 2 small but vital details. You need a small ventilation hole. Poke a small hole just an inch or 2 in diameter through the roof with a stick. This prevents carbon dioxide from building up to dangerous levels while you sleep. Also, smooth the inside of the ceiling. This prevents water from dripping on you as the inner surface melts slightly from your body heat. Instead, the water will run down the smooth walls. A well-built snow cave can keep the internal temperature right around freezing, even when it's -40 outside. It's a true winter fortress, provided by the storm itself. From the forests to the Arctic, from the swamps to the snowfields, the lesson is the same. The wilderness provides. These 7 shelters are more than just historical curiosities. They are a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and a deep, intimate connection with the natural world. Our ancestors didn't just see a forest, they saw poles, lashing, and insulation. They didn't see a snowdrift as an obstacle, they saw it as a quarry of life-saving building blocks. This way of seeing the world, this practical knowledge, is our inheritance. Learning these techniques does more than just prepare you for a worst-case scenario. It changes your relationship with the wild. It empowers you, replacing fear with confidence and respect. Knowing you can create shelter with your own 2 hands and the materials around you is one of the most powerful skills an adventurer can possess. It connects you to a lineage of survival that stretches back thousands of years and reminds you that the fundamental rules of survival, warmth, water, shelter, food, are timeless. This knowledge is a legacy worth preserving and practicing. It's about understanding the why behind the how, and carrying that wisdom with you on every journey. If you want to learn more about traditional survival techniques that conquered impossible terrain, check out our episode on forgotten survival tricks that could save your life in the wild. Stay prepared, stay smart, and never stop learning from the incredible wisdom of those who walked these lands before us.